Welcome to Sad Boy Hour. Kevin and Tim aren't in London for Star Wars celebration, so we're joining.
Ooh, you had to start with
live, Tampa Bay, Florida, instead.
You wanted to start with that. It's a painful intro, Tim.
Okay, sorry, Kevin. You can do it this time.
No, we'll start it like that.
I didn't think I'd have the FOMO that I have.
This is the emo episode of Star Wars and Scotch. I'm gonna move my hair out like this. You know how the emo kids do, Tim?
I never. Okay, so you know how you and I talked about how I'm like a closet emo kid.
See, okay, this is a discussion we're not gonna have today. Emo to me and emo to everyone else is two completely different things. Emo to everyone else is what goth was when I was growing up. Now everyone's like, "Oh, My Chemical Romance is emo." I'm like, "No, it's not."
Okay, well, so then, you know how we've talked about that I'm a closet goth kid.
Yeah, 100%. Hot Topic kid, I think it's a fair assessment there.
I just never. That was the only part that I was like, oh, I'm good. I never wanted to have like the long hair that just covered one side of my face.
Yeah, but you can still rock good hair.
Well, yeah, but that's why I did the spiky hair. I think.
It's a little punk rock.
I always wanted the big spikes.
Liberty spikes.
My mom wouldn't let me do it.
What
a weird start to this episode.
Maybe she'll let you do it now. I'll talk to her next time I see her.
I'm a grown.
You still probably have the Catholic guilt about doing it. Like, oh, I don't know.
I don't have tattoos, Kevin.
Wow, I guess I'm damned.
Yeah, that's why I don't have tattoos.
Speaking of going tomorrow, getting a Star Wars tattoo tomorrow.
Oh, where are you getting it?
Right here.
Oh, sick. What is it going to be? Is it going to be a surprise?
Blaster. It's Han's blaster, and it's wrapped in banners, and it says, "Never tell me the odds."
Ooh.
Thought of that one myself.
Okay.
Now,
all right,
for people out there,
wait a second. All right, do you know the name of Han's blaster?
No.
Oh, Kevin. Okay. All right. So you have to know.
I feel like you're gonna say it, and I know it.
Well, yeah, it's the DL44. So
yes.
you have to know that if it's gonna be tattooed on your body.
Okay. Well, my tattoo artist is a Star Wars fan, so I'm in good hands.
Perfect. Okay.
Like
great.
The day I met him, he was wearing a Millennium Falcon shirt, and then when I told him what I wanted, he was like, "This is one of the coolest tattoos I've ever gotten to do." So, I'm in good hands on that side of the fence.
But it's like somewhere special, like Han shot first. Like you'll never see it, but like it'll be there, like in the handle. God, I would love that. Right? I'm telling you, dude. Just like a little Easter egg in the tattoo that says Han shot first, because we all know that he did.
He did, but I just like telling people that Greedo shot first just to like start an argument and start shit. Then, I know Han shot first.
So that you could work that in. I'm just saying, I feel like you should work that in there somewhere.
Also, what I was going to say to our listeners, and thank you for setting new records in listener and viewership over the past few weeks. We appreciate you.
People have been coming to my chat.
Yes. But what I want to say is I know I'm not the first person to get this tattoo, but I did think of it on my own before I Googled it. So don't start sending me like, my cousin's sister's brother's uncle's cousin's roommate has one.
We know.
I get it. There's nothing new under the sun. But before we get rolling, let's remember that we're drinking our delicious and wonderful, turn the right way, Kevin, King's Coast coffee. You can get yours at kingscoastcoffee.com. There might be a little Kona left. There was yesterday. I don't know if
it's all sold out.
It's gone. Okay.
Yeah, I looked last night.
Yeah. Sorry. It's gone. Woohoo. Bye. Bye. See ya. So no Kona left. But if you were part of the Kings Club, you probably would have known about the Kona and you wouldn't have missed out on the Kona. So we've had Jamaican Blue. We've had Jamaica Blue Mountain Kona this year. Who knows what's going to be next? But don't miss out. Join the Kings Club, kingscoastcoffee.com. Tim.
Yes, sir.
Are you excited for GCX?
Kevin, I'm wearing a GCX t-shirt right now. That was
the lead in to the question.
So for those that are listening, I know there's a lot of you that listen to the podcast. We also do a video version for YouTube, and also I think it goes on Facebook as well. But I'm wearing last year's GCX t-shirt. This is a good one. This is actually a really good one. So this same shirt material is going to be what we're using for some other stuff. But yeah, this is a good one. What's our theme this year?
8-bit, 16-bit adventure.
It's gonna be sick, dude.
Yeah. We just actually we had some characters drawn originally, but we wanted to give them a new angle. So our good friend Khan is working on drawing our dungeon party for this year's event. They'll be the ones leading everything, and the characters that come in and do stuff over the course of the event. So Khan is working on that right now as we speak. If you don't know Khan, go to kingscoastcoffee.com and look at the Conquer bag. That's his bag. So if you want to see what you're, and also if you just don't know him, Young Khan, YUNGKHAN, Google him and get all of your art needs fulfilled because he's the man.
He does amazing work.
He really does. He really does. But Khan's working on that. And then announcements probably before the end of this week will roll out. We're waiting for a confirmation from one of our partners to make sure we could announce something. But we start doing that. Creator signups are coming. We'll start announcing what creators will be there, what booths will be on the floor. Here comes the avalanche of announcements for GCX 2023, Rose and Shingle Creek, August 4th and 5th. Do not miss it. I'm telling you. Also, Hotel Block is almost at the level that it was last year.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah, we're not far off. So if you want a hotel room, you don't even have to pay for the hotel room tonight. You just book it and you can pay it when you show up to Rosen. So if you're thinking about it, I suggest you book the hotel room and hold your spot. But you're probably going to end up going if you're thinking about it, because once we start announcing things, you're going to want to
go.
Yeah,
you're going to want to go.
So
the Star Wars stuff alone, you're going to want to go. Just saying.
Yeah, you're going to want to go. You're going to want to go. But we'll get into more Star Wars stuff later. GCXevent.com for all of your GCX needs and announcements and whatnot will start going up there soon. Did you finish Battle Scars?
Not yet.
Okay.
I'm on chapter 8.
I don't know what chapter I'm on, but I have 6. They're on the planet about to do the mission.
Yeah, so you and I are in the exact same spot.
Okay. Yeah, like
after the fiery scene.
Yeah, Marin and Seer are having a conversation while they're walking into this thing. Yeah, I just literally heard that on the way this morning.
And you find out that someone doesn't have any They don't have units on their chest.
Yes.
And they go into detail about that, which I thought was really strange.
So myself and most of the internet seem to think that there's too much teen romance in this and not enough Star Wars. It gets a little hot and
heavy. But it's only for a certain section. I feel like the beginning of the book is so good. Feels like a video game. It's really enjoyable. The action scenes are fun. The way that they talk about Marin using her powers, really great. Are we gonna dump into this or just
well, we're not. We can use it as a precursor to the final discussion when we finish the book and leading up to the game.
We're going to talk about Jedi Survivor gameplay coming out and things like that. Okay, all right. So anyways, they're saying that if you want to know what happens before Jedi Survivor, you have to read Battlescar. It is an absolute must. Everything that has happened in Battlescar so far, unless all of the juicy stuff's going to be at the very end, this feels a lot like the book that they wrote for Star Wars Battlefront, Inferno Squadron. Inferno Squadron was supposed to be this book where it was all about God, I forget her name, the protagonist for the what's her face.
It starts with an I.
Oh God damn it!
Is it Indira?
No, that doesn't sound right. Anyways, so that entire book was supposed to set up her character and set up like the entire dichotomy of like what's going on, and you're supposed to have like this great understanding. At the end of the day, it was a really lackluster book. Iden Versio. There you go. Thank you very much.
Yes.
And she was played by someone who was on Teen Wolf. I forget her name. I'm just brain farting with her, but she was great. She's awesome. I met her in person. Anyways, it's another one of those video game Star Wars books where I was just like, I'm still confused as to why this matters. Because it's a cool, like it's fun for a bit. And then you're right. It gets really hot and heavy with Marin and this character that right off the rip, like as soon as she like meets up with them, it's like, boom, I love you. And it's like, holy crap. So there's really no spoiler there. It's like it's instantaneously, as soon as this person is met up with Marin, it's like they're in it. So I don't know. It's weird.
I'm still holding out for.
Kevin was like, he texted me. He's like, this is stupid. And I was like, it gets better, I swear. And it did. I feel like they let up off the gas pedal as soon as they like had like their moment. it was like it was done. But there was so
Feels
much
like it's
detail.
dominating. It feels like it's dominating the story, and it's not about the crew. It's about this
This
little love.
connection that Marin has.
Yeah, and I'm
Yeah.
not feeling that because it's this brand new character. I don't know her from anything, and I am coming into the story interested in the story of the crew that I played with in the last game.
Yeah, exactly.
So introducing this new person, a forced love interest, in my opinion, it does not feel natural at all. It's just like, and then they keep referencing it over and over again. It seems to be overshadowing the plot. So as of now, I'm not really into it. I'm going to finish the book before we start Cataclysm, which we're going to talk about in just a second. But I'm like, also, I can't listen to this one in the car with my son, and he really likes listening to Star Wars books because they keep making sexual references in it. So it's not even suitable for my son who loves Star Wars. He's hitting a huge Star Wars stride. We're watching Clone Wars together all the way through.
Oh my god, that's so sick.
I know. We watched the first two Mortis episodes on Tuesday night. Oh my god, Tim. He was like, what is this place? I was like, it's Mortis. Who are they? What's his name? The brother? I don't understand.
Yeah, so dude, like 90% of the Star Wars fandom don't understand that. So it's totally fine.
Yeah, so
that's awesome.
I don't know.
That's so cool. Kyler was asking about Bad Batch this morning. He's like, "Where's Bad Batch?" I'm like, "It's all done."
The internet does not think Tech is dead, by the way. It's
no, I'm definitely on. I'm definitely on Tech is not dead team.
Yeah. So but jumping into Cataclysm, it's the new High Republic book. It released yesterday, April 4th. It's written by Lydia Kang. I listened to the first chapter with Hunter. It's literally just on the heels of what was the one on Battle for Jeddah? Was that the name of it?
Yes.
Yeah, it's literally on the heels of that one.
Okay. So we're staying in this set. We're still in phase 2, which is like 200 years before phase 1.
It opened with a new person from the Path of the Open Hand and the mother.
Man, they're really leaning into this one.
Well, it's the story of the levelers.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and they talk about it. They reference it multiple times. It's just I'm surprised that they've stuck with phase 2 for so long because they left phase 1 in such a weird spot. I think, like, in my opinion, like when we leave Marchion, like it just doesn't feel right. Like I'm ready for the next thing with his story, and I don't know when we're gonna get that closure.
We will see. This is the summary. After 5 years of conflict, the planets Iram and Arano are on the cusp of a real peace again.
Again, Iram and Arano. Jesus.
But when news breaks of a disaster at the treaty signing of Jeddah, violence reignites on the beleaguered worlds. Together, the royal heirs, of both planets, Fantuzen and Ziri Albaran, work alongside the Jedi, have uncovered evidence that the conflict is being orchestrated by outside forces, and all signs point to the mysterious Path of the Open Hand, whom the Jedi also suspect of causing the disaster on Jeddah. With time and answers in short supply, the Jedi must divide their focus between helping quell the renewed violence on Iram and Arano and investigating the path. Among them is Gela Natai, who turns to the one person she believes can unravel the mystery, but the last person she wants to trust, Axel Greylark. He's back.
Yeah, of course, he's back.
The Chancellor's son, imprisoned for his crimes, has always sought to unburden himself of the weight of his family name. Will he reconcile within the Jedi and aid in their quest for justice and peace, or embrace the path's promise of true freedom? All roads lead to Dalna. Gela and her allies prepare to take on a foe unlike anything they've ever faced, and it will take all their trust in the Force and in one another to survive.
You know who Axel reminds me of? He reminds me of the ISB agent from Aftermath. He's got that same.
Sinjir Rathvelis.
Yes, Sinjir. He reminds me so much of him. But I feel like they're gonna kill him at the end. I feel like Axel's gonna die. He's gonna have this because he feels so bad. He needs this. He needs this turning point. He needs this redemption arc. And I think that they're gonna end up. He's gonna end up sacrificing himself at the very end because he's been so selfish. He's been so selfish. He needs to have this selfless moment of like, I give myself for the greater good. It's gonna happen. Calling it now.
We shall see. I think what this will reveal is knowledge on how to take down the leveler. That will then shoot us back to the time period we were in, and someone figuring out that one of the Jedi had in the past had defeated the leveler. What I don't understand is, even though this is only like 100 and some odd years before,
if it's the guy who's frozen in Survivor?
Oh my god!
Imagine, Kevin. What if the leveler
What if they
is
bring
in
the
leveler
Survivor.
back and it's in Survivor, or it's not, or maybe, oh my God, Kevin, that would be such a cool way to bring that all full circle.
That'd be wild.
You bring the leveler in as the bad guy.
How would you even fight that in a video game?
I don't know. But somehow, and like, what if it's somehow related to the Zepho?
Be interesting. Well, I don't think it could be because she creates it. Oh, you didn't read that book. The teen romance,
The really
one that
bad
was awful.
one? She made it?
Essentially, yeah.
God damn it.
So it wouldn't link back.
Well, how
that
did she
far,
learn? How did she learn how to do it?
They don't really tell you, but she has it like an egg.
Oh.
So I guess it could go back to the Zepho, and then it like, I don't know, it's like this little mush at the beginning, and it grows as it feeds on the Force.
Hmm.
I know it was a terrible book.
They
so
covered that in the team romance one?
Yeah.
That's pretty important. Why would they just kind of just skip over
Just
that?
that's why I always, whenever the other books come out, I just go to YouTube and find someone reviewing it and summarizing it for me real quick.
That's smart.
It just so I get the info. But so yeah, we'll finish Battle Scars, and then we'll jump into Cataclysm, and as we read them, we'll discuss them just like we do with Battle Scars. But the jury is out. But yeah, I have a feeling it's gonna be very focused on how to defeat the leveler. And that obviously the politics of Irem and Arano are important in that time frame too. But the leveler, I think, is the big question. Be very interesting if the leveler's in Survivor. That would be
I just like the whole idea of knowing that we have someone from the High Republic and we don't really know when and where it's from. I mean, we know it's after unless we don't really know if that's a Bacta tube, but we'd assume that because there's Bacta in there, it was after the events of the first book, because that's when they were first starting to cultivate Bacta. So it's got to be a little bit farther into the future. So that's why I keep on feeling like the idea of it is involved with Acolyte. That makes way more sense. But we'll see.
We shall see. The High Republic rolls on. So there was the Star Wars Jedi Survivor Play event, which I believe is in London, right?
Yeah, it was an international event.
Yeah, Tim and I didn't get invited. Tim was like, "It's okay, Kevin. I wouldn't have went anyway."
It was a YouTuber event, or like a content creator event. It was mostly for people who create VODs. They got to play 4 hours of gameplay. I usually end up turning those down, one, because I love live streaming them and I hate getting it ruined for me. I did it once. I will never do it again. I got to play the entire campaign for Battlefront from start to finish, and it ruined it for me because when I came home to stream it, I was like, I've already seen all this. So it was like made me really sad. So like that's why I didn't get involved with like Dead Space. They were like, "Do you want to come and do feedback sessions for Dead Space?" I was like, "Fucking no," because I'm really excited for this game. I'm not ruining it for myself.
Yeah.
It would have been sick. They all got lightsabers and stuff. Okay, like I mean, the invite would have been nice.
I mean, I don't know. It would have been nice to.
I'll email.
I would have
somebody.
went.
I'll email someone.
I would have went. I'm not gonna lie. I would have went, and then I would just stayed the week and went to Celebration. But now we're here with FOMO.
This is the way,
we'll
Kevin.
Talk about it. Yeah, this is the way. Ugh.
This is the way.
So this is from GameSpot. This is the short summary. Star Wars Survivor is going in an interesting direction with its story, which takes place 5 years after the events of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Now we know the book takes place around 2-3 years in between the two games.
Yep.
In Survivor, you once again play as Cal Kestis, who finds himself struggling to keep ahead of and fight against the ever-expanding threat of the Galactic Empire. Lots of clues to that in the book already.
Yep.
All these years later, the Empire is still expanding efforts to hunt down and kill any Jedi who manage to survive Order 66. And Cal's exploits in Fallen Order have made him a major target. The preview we played picked up at the Survivor's second chapter, so they didn't even get to play the intro, with Cal crashing the Mantis and setting out to find replacement parts for the ship. Grease, Seer, and Marin aren't around, leaving Cal and his droid companion BD-1 to adventure out alone. So I would assume that the opening of the game is action-packed, crazy, reteach you the controls and the new mechanics. Somehow we crash the Mantis, and we're separated from our crew, and then we're kind of left to figure out what we learned in Chapter 1 with BD, and then I'm assuming we will regroup with the crew. Does that sound right?
Sounds about right.
Did I get the video game formula?
It's like you've played a video game before.
Yeah, I know. So, I mean, I'm excited for this game, dude. I
Yeah, dude. I
can't.
mean, like, there's nothing that has been showcased in this game where I'm like, that looks bad. Like, I've been trying really hard, like knowing that there's all this gameplay out there. I was like, I want to be careful. I don't want to ruin this for myself. This is like,
Yeah.
the game that I'm super excited for, and I want to ruin it. But like seeing all of the Clone Wars stuff that's in there, like the B1s, the super battle droids, like that's cool. That's really neat. And like it feels like they took all of the really good stuff from Battlefront and like all that really neat nostalgic stuff that we just absolutely loved when the game was polished and it felt better.
Mm-hmm.
And they're continuing to bring that in. And even like in Mando today, like seeing more like Clone Wars stuff has been really fun for me because it starts to make more sense. You're like, where the fuck did all this stuff go? You know, all this stuff that was out there after the Clone Wars, and it just completely disappears. So it's really cool to see them use those assets in other parts of storytelling to be like, okay, no, that stuff is still around in the universe.
I like the Kotaku article. There's a bunch of articles on it if you want to read it.
Yeah,
the Star Wars Jedi Survivor gameplay shows off an expanded set of mechanics and extensive customization. This is what they have to say about Cal. I'm not really a lore guy, though, Star Wars or otherwise, but I love me some flippy, skippy Metroidvania action, and Jedi Survivor hit me in the face with an expensive replica lightsaber with, end quote, flippy, skippy Metroidvania action, end quote, etched into the hilt. Unlike Samus or Alucard, who lose their powers to start a new caper, Cal Kestis gets yoked up and does everything he could do before, but better. He's heavier, faster, forcier, stronger, and beardier. Able to do,
I like that.
Able to do sick shit like kicking off walls to reset his double jump and scale surfaces he couldn't dream of doing in the original game.
I love that Respawn brought wall running back and they put it in Star Wars.
Yeah, it's like Titanfall, but now
yeah,
Cal
they're like, it worked really well in Titanfall. Let's try it again.
Cal is a lot more world weary with pronounced bags under his eyes telling us his quest to disrupt the ever-growing empire and restore the Jedi Order hasn't gone well. This makes sense in the greater Star Wars timeline as we know things only get worse from here, but that crushing reality also feels like a practical vehicle to insert a little more life into Cal, who was sympathetic enough in Fallen Order's plot, but stopped short of being an interesting character otherwise. I disagree with that. Respawn's creative team has done an excellent job of finding a sweet spot here, giving Cal more substance and grit without compromising his overall babyface vibe. He's still a nerd, but with a little more hair on his chest, you know? Yes, I do know. That's a great description. That part I agree with. So yeah, and then it just goes on to talk about the different stances, which is crazy awesome canon. And just a lot of the things that you can do. But the baseline and every article seemed to really push home was you're still Cal Kestis when you show up in this game. It's not like the other games where you're stripped of your powers and you have to regain them or relearn them. Yeah. They're just going to build on what you already had in Fallen Order and Survivor. You're just going to be that cool, much cooler of a Jedi.
Yep. I mean, like, again, there's nothing that I have seen about this game where I'm like, that's going to suck. Like, I'm just excited to play.
It's difficult again because it's like, you don't want to get your hopes up and then it bombs, but I mean, the first game set a pretty good tone.
The first game was so good and it still plays so well. You can go back and play it. I did another playthrough of it and it was so good. And I'm probably going to play it again before the end of the month just because it feels like it's probably a good thing to just play through. It's a quick playthrough. It's really not that long of a game if you play it on normal. And if you're familiar with the mechanics, like you can kind of just zip right through it and it feels still really, really good. So yeah, I'm excited to see like the customization and the new combat systems that they're bringing in, like this co-op system where you're able to you can go and recruit people that I saw. It's gonna feel more open world. It seems like where they're just gonna expand on the ability for you to go from like planet to planet. It's gonna be more to that, which looks really, really cool. But like being able to do this tag team stuff, I'm excited to see that and see what kind of combos you can pull off.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I'm excited to see what the new stuff is, and we've got a little bit of it leaked, but I have a feeling there's a lot behind the curtain we haven't seen.
Oh yeah.
So I'm very interested to see like how do you build it up even more. And they gave some practical examples there, like the resetting your jump by getting on a wall, which is pretty awesome. Because that means there's probably somewhere along the game where you have to double jump wall, double jump wall, double jump wall.
Yeah, and there's a grapple system and stuff. So I mean, like, there's gonna be some cool shit where like the puzzles are gonna be a lot more fun. That's the one thing I really like too. Is like the Zepho puzzles were really, really cool.
Also, yeah, it when it comes to map building, when you have that kind of versatility, that means they can go lower and higher than they did in the previous iteration because you'll be able to go to new places in that sense. And they don't have to build stairs or anything. So
Yeah.
should be fun. Jedi
All
Survivor
right.
comes out April. It's one of them at Disney.
April 28th.
20,
April
28th. Yeah, I'll be at
April
Disney, so I
28th.
won't be able to play it on release. It's my daughter's fourth birthday party. We're
All right,
doing
I'll play it
princess
for
stuff.
you.
I'm not going to watch you because
Wow,
Can't.
that's rude. All right, well, while I have a stern talking to with Kevin about not watching my stream, you guys can take a listen to these ads to help pay the bills, and we'll see you on the other side.
I was going to tell everyone else to watch your
No,
stream.
ad
Tim.
break. The ads. All right, as Kevin, thinks about his actions, we'll start talking about the Mandalorian.
fb.gg
Oh,
slash
geez,
darkness.
here we go. He's trying to suck up. Overall,
You like this episode?
I really so it's funny because I knew like right from the rip. I was like, oh, this is a side quest and a half.
You read the description.
Oh yeah, it was like guns for hire, and I was like, okay, cool. And then so I like how it opens up. This right away. It's like this cheesy open of like these two teenagers that are in love and they're running away from home. So I thought that was great. But we get to learn that Bo Katan built up an armada of reacquired Imperial assets. I really thought this was going to be the Thrawn moment. I was like, oh shit, here it comes. Everybody was right and I was wrong. And the way they opened it up, even the guy, he had a little like English accent in there, and I was like, oh shit, it's Thrawn. It wasn't Thrawn. But it was the Mandalorian pirates. So we assume that these guys probably are the reason why our good friend Moff Gideon isn't around right now. I would assume. That's my assumption, is that these guys they were hired to intercept Gideon's transport vehicle.
So you think Axe Wolf's crew that Bo Katan just took back has Gideon in custody?
Or they delivered him to someone else.
Got it. Okay.
Remember, they went and stopped the Quarren from getting the Mon Cala off, so they could go do weird fish stuff. They stopped him. They didn't do any damage. They didn't kill anybody, but they took
because
him.
the Mandalorians have a reputation.
Right, exactly. So I'm wondering if they were hired. But she said he said, I thought Mandalorians were people of honor. And she said it only takes a few credits. And so
She said it only takes a few credits.
Yeah. So she's saying though, like it only we'll do anything for credits, essentially. She's like, we're honorable people, but like that's how I took it.
But they've always been like that. That's nothing
for sure.
new.
And,
Star
and there's
Wars.
nothing new but that's why I'm thinking that this group, they took Gideon and they took him somewhere else, but they're not going to say anything.
I'm sticking to my theory. I think there's bad Mandos out there.
That could be too.
I think that's more fun.
But they also have, I mean, they had an Imperial cruiser that has a tractor beam. Like there's no way that they were going to stop a Lambda shuttle.
Right. If you have an Imperial cruiser with a tractor beam, you would have sucked it in and boarded it that way, just like they do in Star Wars movies.
I don't think they would have. Why not? Why couldn't you just hold it and have a boarding
Why would you
party?
just blow the hull? Well, obviously, no. What I think they did was board it.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah, and then blow the hull and get out of there.
Saying. I still think it was them though.
I don't know. I like my Imperial Mando theory.
All right.
Well, we'll see. But yeah, the fish love. By the way, that's not Prince Lay whatever from.
No, it's a different guy.
The timeline does not match up on that at all. I saw someone say that online. I was like, Lishan. I don't remember his name, but that's not him. But it was very nice to see. It's very nice to see the two warring factions of Mon Cala have a Romeo and Juliet style situation.
Very cute. It was nice.
I like that Tim called it weird fish stuff.
Yeah, the weird fish stuff.
I love when
insensitive.
I love the Quarren tentacle.
She was caressing him with her face tentacles. It was really cute. It was all cute. Fish stuff is cute.
I had fun with the beginning. I thought that was like an awesome little.
All of this was awesome.
Say
dude, we get to this planet we've never heard of, and it's beautiful. This
Plaisir 15.
Plaisir 15. Plaisir is beautiful. Like it's not on any map. No one knows about it.
Can we talk about the casting budget for this episode?
Yes, that's what I'm getting to. This entire episode was so fun because it opens up right away the door opens up and I'm like, is that Jack Black?
I said the same thing. I giggled. I went, Jack Black with Lizzo.
Yeah, and then we get closer and it's Lizzo and Jack Black.
And then Christopher Lloyd.
And then Christopher Lloyd shows up.
And then they brought Mercedes Vernado back as the Mandalorian. She ain't cheap either.
Episode was nuts from a cast perspective. It was so much fun because every scene was like, who's next? Who are they going to bring out next? Because I think they just blew their load on this. They're just like, we'll just have everybody in there.
I completely forgot that it was leaked that Christopher Lloyd was going to be in Mandalorian.
I thought that was a joke.
I completely forgot about that. So when that door opened, I was like, oh, but the way they looped him back into being a separatist. Oh my God. It was
so
beautiful.
Awesome. Great Scott.
Beautiful.
Marty. I was hoping there was going to be like a DeLorean that like went through a shot. That would have been so funny for me.
Like flying through
just something real quick. You know how JJ put R2D2 in Star Trek?
Yeah.
Like that would have just been really fun if there would have just been like a quick like just DeLorean just through one of the chase scenes.
I really enjoyed Mando talking to the Ugnaughts.
Yeah, that was fun because he brought back Kuil, and I thought
and I
that
didn't
was really
realize cool. I've never realized there's a certain way you have to talk to them.
Yeah,
which makes Kuil seem less like a hard ass and more just that's his cultural norm.
He's an Ugnaught.
Yeah,
it made me miss Kuil because I really enjoyed his character.
You have to end your statement.
I have spoken.
This is what I'm doing. This is what I want with I have spoken. And that seems to be also not insult them like Bo was doing.
Bo just came right in. Your shit's broken.
Yeah, but then we had the opposite when they went to the droid bar that reminded me of Legend stuff because like there's so many stories. There's one in SWTOR. You do a dungeon in SWTOR on a planet where the droids rebelled and took over the entire planet. So it reminded me a lot of that, the plot of this. The kicking the what droids are the big battle droids?
Those are the super battle droids.
The super battle droids was totally the Boston Dynamics videos that are all over the internet.
Uh-huh.
I was like, one of those is gonna come off and whale him in the face.
And just turn around, bam! I've had enough. But that was so cool that like they ended up getting infected by these nanites. And like that was really cool. That was very like that felt like a Clone Wars kind of like or like Rebels kind of episode of just like this bad shit's going on. It was like Star Wars CSI. It was cool.
I like that the droid in the laboratory turned on them too. I did not see that coming.
Yeah, with the green laser beams flying out everywhere. That was great. Mm-hmm. That was really good.
Yeah, and the way they uncovered the whole chain code identity messaging on the nano droids was pretty awesome. I one thing I liked but didn't like. Let's talk about the end of the episode.
Okay. All right. Perfect.
I like that she challenged them.
Yes.
Him, Axe.
Yes.
I did not like the fight. But here's my thought process on the fight. Because that was easy for her. Am I wrong?
It was a little it felt, I don't know, like I also have to feel like the choreograph was like, because they're so heavy with the armor, maybe that's why it felt slow. But yeah, it just didn't feel like it was as impactful as other fight scenes that we've had.
Here's my theory on this is that was done purposefully because it shows that Bo could have done this at any point in time, but she had become so depressed and apathetic that she was just like, whatever, they're gone. And she never had the gumption, the motivation, or the reason to go and just take back what was hers originally.
Or because she's been training with the Watch for so long. Like she's been there for a little bit in their enclave.
I'm talking about even before she got there.
Oh, so you're okay.
That's my thought process because the fight seemed like it. Maybe easy is not the right word, but
that's what I'm saying.
Like
maybe she wasn't able to. Maybe she wasn't able to challenge him before because she maybe didn't have. Like maybe she lost that sense of fight.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think she had
being with the Enclave gave her that.
Exactly. That's my whole thought
motivation.
process.
Yeah, I like that.
physically she could have done it at any point in time. I think mentally she needed everything she went through in the past few episodes to be able to walk in there
I
and
see
be
what you're
like,
saying. Yeah.
I challenge you, and take him down in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Um,
And
what did you think of the Darksaber situation?
Hated it. I thought that was bullshit. And I thought that was an easy way out to keep Bo and Mando from fighting each other. And I'm really disappointed that they went through that, because like the fight that he had with Moff Gideon, totally understood. Like we said, like I thought we all agreed on that it had to be in combat, not just by dropping it. And it's funny, we went back and forth about this in chat. Someone had asked like, how does Bo get the Darksaber back? You know, and so we started like trying to go down the whole like, well, you know, this person, it lost to this person, but then Bo didn't lose it to Sabine. Sabine gave it to her, so it's like it's very confusing, the Darksaber property. So if you drop it while you're like being captured, that is also considered the same as if you disarm someone in combat. Like it doesn't feel very Mandalorian to take claim of something because he was captured by this thing. I killed that thing. He dropped the Darksaber because of that thing, but I killed it, so now it's mine. Like that's confusing, and it's just, I wish we had a clear, concise rule as to like how that is done. I feel like it should be a disarm in combat is what dictates it goes. Like it's just like Harry Potter, right? Like we could just go that way. Wand properties. It's a disarm that then transfers to the next individual. I feel like that's how that should work. So I was a little disappointed that like the creepy doctor robot in the bellies of Mandalore, because he captured Mando and Mando dropped his Darksaber, and Katie Sackhoff or Bo Katan picked it up off the ground. Therefore, it's hers. I don't know. That was the only part of this episode where I was like, no, it's too easy of a cop. It felt like a cop out, because I really felt like she should have had to, like at the very end, because it would have been. That's always some of the most like impactful events, is when like two people who are friends, who have, you know, brothers in arms, they've fought together, and then they have to turn on each other because of a situation. Like it would have been crazy if it was like it came down to the point of like, if you're gonna be the ruler of Mandalore, you have to beat him in combat, and Din would be like, this is the way, and she agrees this is the way, and they fight it out. That would have been so much more impactful, I feel like, in my opinion.
My problem was they could have fought and he could have lived, because all he had to do was yield.
That's what I'm saying. He would have just had to have been disarmed. It wouldn't have been a kill.
But from a lore perspective, I also understand what they did here. And I think it was less that he dropped it and more that she defeated the enemy that captured him, which in essence does follow the creed. I do think it's a cop-out, but hear me out. I think it might play into the story moving forward about how she acquired it once again, and she will have to answer to that, and it will play a part, especially if Imperial Mando show up. Because if they want a reason not to follow her, they just gave her one. They just gave them one. So that's my thought process, is it will create turmoil down the line, again, like it did the first time, but she has way more of a claim than just Sabine handing it to her.
But why was that okay the first time? All these Mandalorians, all the Mandalorians were standing there and they celebrated.
Yeah, but it wasn't. It ended up not being. And
I mean, no, but okay, but that's the curse, though, right? Like that was the curse, and I thought,
but
like,
maybe
they didn't
now they
believe
all
in magic, like in all of that.
But maybe now they are starting to. I think that's where this is going. Is the Mythosaur shows up? She all of a sudden has this like religious experience over it. Mandalore was cursed after Sabine handed her the Darksaber. Maybe they're all starting to come around to like, all right, maybe there's a little bit more to this than we thought. So I think that's what's happening to them as a culture. Now, I don't think they're all going to go the way of the Watch.
Yeah,
but like the armorer said, we can unite the clans.
Yeah. All right.
Have you seen the theory that I think you sent it to me or I sent it to you? I can't remember at this point, that the armor is.
Yeah, you sent that to me. She's like one of the remaining remnants of Maul's Night Watch or Death. What do they call them?
Mandalorian Super Commandos.
Super Commandos.
or
because of
traditionalists.
the horns on her head, right?
Yeah, I don't know if I buy it, but
I don't buy it either, but I mean, like, it's a fun thing to think about. But I don't think she's nefarious. She is still yet to do anything that makes me feel like she's evil.
Brooke Cass, that's her name.
Is that the one that we keep on trying to figure out who that person is?
Yeah, it's Rook Cast.
Yeah,
I didn't know
so
she was a Legends character
So
too.
you think that she's still alive and she's the one that's out there with these?
She was alive when we left.
Right,
that
we left her
storyline.
in season 6 at the end when Sabine or when Ahsoka is taking Maul off with the 501st.
She is apparently a Legends character too. I did not realize that.
But she's not dead, right? It's confirmed she's not dead.
I'm on her Wikipedia page right now. It says nothing about her.
Yeah, because we
dying.
just like the last time we see her, she's in Republic control, right? She was arrested or she
Battle
flees?
of Ord Mantell, Assault on Vizsla Keep. She's in the comics a lot apparently. Defeat on Dathomir, Siege of Mandalore, that's what we see. That's all
Mhm.
before that. Yeah, the last thing we see is her on TV.
Yeah, interesting.
It's the Siege of Mandalore. That's it. That's the end of it. And then we don't see her anymore. So we have the base. We have that acclimating to Mandalorian culture and figuring out how they're all going to get along. The call will go out to more Mandalorians, but I think the major plot point there is that we saw how that's going to interact. So maybe we'll even do a time skip or a montage or something of like meeting. I don't know. But there's more out there. And I would
Like a 90s montage.
this take it to the limit. But my thought process goes to, do we take back Mandalore in the final episode?
So
Like an Iwo Jima moment where they're like planting the flag
yeah,
of the major city and
so I think what'll happen is that the final big piece, because we still haven't really had a bad guy. And we know we got a sense of a bad guy when the Imperial bombers came, and then we had all those the normal TIE fighters that were coming from a ship. So it couldn't be a cruiser like what they have. It's going to be a bigger ship. It's either going to be a Star Destroyer or an Imperial Star Destroyer, or like a Super Star Destroyer. I'm going to go with normal Star Destroyer. I don't think that they would end up having one for this episode, but who knows? Maybe they'll blow us all away and there's a Super Star Destroyer that shows up. But I think what's going to happen is it's going to be that ship and Bo's ship and the Naboo Starfighter Mando ship, and it's going to be an all-out war against whoever bombed Bo's castle. Because that's the looming bad guy that we still don't know who it really is. We all assume that it's Gideon. He got rescued. He got sent back to his fleet, and now he's under control. He's under control of this massive armada, and he's pissed off. And so I think that's what it's going to be. The last episode is going to be a fight over the planet. They're all going to fight it out over the planet, and the ending will be them all landing down, celebrating, and retaking the capital.
So I'm with you. I think Gideon will still be featured as the enemy. I do think that'll be the introduction of Imperial Mandos. I think you're going to see I think you're going to see our Mandos fighting Dark Troopers.
Yeah.
I wouldn't rule out Sabine being a major plot point in the next 2 episodes.
Yeah,
because obviously
we haven't had we haven't had that fan service introduction yet.
Right. Which could also lead to Ahsoka helping in that battle.
Because rumors that she's supposed to be in.
The rumor is that Ahsoka will be in.
She's supposed to be in
I
an
even
episode, right?
I wore my Ahsoka socks that I got.
Nice. Oh, yeah, you got those at PAX. Very good. Very nice.
Wore my Ahsoka socks in hopes that we will see my favorite character in all of Star Wars. So all of that can take place, and I still maintain the dust will settle. Maybe they'll defeat Gideon. Gideon escapes again. He has to. Like, he can't. We haven't seen him all season. I want more. I want more Giancarlo Esposito.
Unless, like, at the very end, he calls for help out to Thrawn. That's the only.
Either
that's
that.
That's the thing that I could see happening is like he gets his ass kicked, and because like this happened last season, like we had Ahsoka name drop Thrawn, which was huge, but now I still don't feel like we're gonna see him in the show outside of maybe a holo communication. Like that's I think that the only way that you could bring it is like he like emergency like sends a call out, and then the person who's on the other end of the line is Thrawn.
Or they take back Mandalore, Gideon's retreating, and all of a sudden the Super Star Destroyer is like, I'm talking end credits, after credits scene, is like slowly barreling towards Mandalore and like pans inside, and it's just Thrawn
Well, they would be
standing
fucked.
there.
They would be fucked. Like there's like they would be so bad for them. There's no
Right,
way.
but that's the whole point, is then we
It
have
would
to wait
be
a whole year and a half.
It would be so bad for them.
And he'll be like, they've played right into my trap. Like something like
But they
that.
would just glass the planet again. I mean, at that point, like they're all screwed.
But maybe he wants something from the planet. Maybe he's the one that was ordering the retrieval of the Beskar. Maybe he's building army for the Chiss, like building armor for the Chiss or something. Like, we don't know.
Yeah, there could be something.
You know, maybe John Favreau convinced the Lucas team to have the Chiss join the Empire at this point and help them reform into the First Order. Like, we don't know what's going to happen.
That would mess up. There'd be so many questions for Timothy Zahn at that point. Be like, sir, I need you to explain what happens, because Ascendancy like doesn't explain enough. And
or maybe Thrawn just straight up sees this all as a power grab. But again, I haven't read all the books, so I don't know. Doesn't the last trilogy go back in time even further?
Yeah, that's the whole thing, is like, so the Ascendancy, it brings you to the doorstep of the original, the new original trilogy for Thrawn. So you get to the point where he's working with the Chiss, and he's doing all the stuff within the myth house. And then at some point he ends up meeting up with Anakin, because he's sent out to scout the boundaries of the chaos and galactic space. And so like that, he ends up meeting with Anakin and like all these things. So then it brings you to when he got sent to go infiltrate the Empire. And so then you work your way up through there. But the way it ends in the last book for Thrawn, book 3, is it takes you to Rebels. It takes you to the doorstep of when he's introduced into Rebels as the bad guy. And because the Emperor, like he tells him personally, he's already mad at him. He knows that Thrawn is double crossing him. He doesn't trust him. And so he's like, go to Lothal and take care of these rebels, and that's where we get left with Thrawn. So we kind of we don't really know at the end of the day, like what really the Ascendancy is up to.
Yeah.
There's a lot of questions. I have a lot of questions because there's a lot of time that has been left, and hopefully get these answers for these questions of like what happens to Thrawn at the end of Rebels, where does he go with Ezra? So hopefully we get there, because I feel like there's a lot of people within the Star Wars fandom that are just itching to figure out what the hell's going on. Because like Thrawn, I think outside of Ahsoka, I think Thrawn is one of the most like beloved characters when it comes to Star Wars right now. People really, really like him. And so like hopefully he gets the treatment he deserves, because I hope his story's good. I hope they don't it just falls by the wayside.
What if he has Ezra captured still?
I mean, like that would be sick, dude. But at the same time, again, I would really, really like for it that he went back to the Ascendancy. Because then you can bring the Ascendancy in. Like he gets to tell the Ascendancy that like the Empire is falling. These rebels.
But if it's not the Empire that attacks
that's
Mandalore,
what I'm
and it's
what I'm
him on the
saying,
Chiss
though.
ship.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying is like the more I think about this, like his whole idea was they are the expansionary defense fleet. Like that is what they do. Like they expand out. The Chiss expand out and take over things, and they are also defending the Chiss Ascendancy from enemies at the same time as they expand out. And so like, what if he goes back? He knows that shit's bad. He just got his ass kicked. So he's able to go tell the Ascendancy, is like, hey, these guys are in turmoil. Their government's about to collapse. He can already see it. And so now it's the Chiss's time to move in with the Ascendancy, because what if the Grisk are coming? What if the Grisk are coming in and they understand that there's a destabilization within that galaxy? And so they're going to come in and try to take it over. And the Ascendancy is like, nah, because you are mortal enemies. And so they start coming in. I just like, that's where my brain's going. There's so like when it comes to Thrawn, there's so much when it comes to the Grisk, and most of his books, like they talk about the interactions with that. Like that's the overarching bad guy. And we have still yet to see them talk about the Grisk in TV form. This would be a great time to start introducing and sprinkling that in.
I love the theory that the Grisk and the Yuzong Vong are out there. It's not just the Grisk.
But that was confirmed.
Well, Yuzong Vong was made canon?
I could have sworn that they were made canon. Didn't something happen and you were like super excited about it?
I think it was the possibility because someone differentiated because someone originally people no, they haven't been made canon yet. Originally people thought that the Grisk were like the new Yuzong Vong.
Well, they
in
operate
Disney's
exactly
canon.
the same way.
But then it was determined that they're not, and they don't even like look the same, and the hierarchy is not the same. So,
But they're like nomadic people that enslave other races to do their bidding.
right, which is, I mean, so does what are those cat people, the slave traders on?
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's not uncommon in the galaxy. So, what I'm saying is basically, I think Disney, their problem with the Yuzong Vong is they're dark. They're
really creepy looking, right? Aren't
they're like the Chaos Marines. If you follow Warhammer 40K, they're like the Chaos Marines of the Star Wars universe. They're very horror. What's his name? Geigerish. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, just Google it. YUUZHANVONG. They're a huge part of Legends canon. At one point during the story of the galaxy, they basically almost overtook it. So but their whole makeup and biology is just nutty. It's pretty cool.
We need a good bad guy. We don't have a good bad guy right now. We had the Empire, we had the Emperor. He's gone. It's all in shambles right now. The First Order is not supposed to pop their head out until we get closer to episode 7, which we are not anywhere close to that right now.
No.
And so we need a good bad guy. We need a fun bad guy to rally up against. And like, why not introduce the Grisk? Why did it have to stay in the book form? I feel like that would be a really sick bad guy to just like it's something new and like no one would understand unless they were reading the books. I don't even know if I would assume they're mentioned in the comics, but like, the normal casual fandom would have no idea what's going on. And like, that would be super exciting for them. I think.
Yeah.
Because it's so different from your stereotypical bad guy in Star Wars. It's not an Imperial officer.
It just might be too much for kids.
You're right. But so I mean, like, Dark Troopers? I mean, like...
Yeah. Yuzong Vong is scarier than Dark Troopers.
I don't know.
So, also one more thing about Plaisir 14. Did that not feel like Logan's Run a little bit of Blade Runner-ish?
Yeah,
once
it
they
had
were
this.
in the
It
dome?
had like, it had this like medicinal cyberpunk kind of vibe.
Yeah,
Very
Logan's
like everything
Run,
was
in my
like everything
opinion.
was like very clean, very whitewashed, and then like the nightlife was very fun and like very electric lights, and it was nice. It was
Very
cool.
Very interesting social commentary too about how the society would collapse if they turned off the droids.
Oh yeah, I liked that. I thought that was really interesting. But I also liked how the
Yeah.
droids gave them the freedom to enlighten themselves and to just go about and enjoy their days. So I mean, like,
With
it's a
the
two-sided
Nepenthe.
coin. Yeah, it's two-sided coin, Kevin. I mean, like with one hand, everything's great and it gives you the freedom. The other hand, you're at the mercy of the robots.
I don't even know if there's. Yeah, the Nepenthe must be something new. Also, there's an episode of Star Trek called Nepenthe from the Picard show. Interesting.
I haven't seen any of the Picard show. Heard it's really
not a
good
Trek-
though. Heard it's
I'm not a Trekkie, so
I think you would like Trek. I feel like that's an older.
I did
older
used to watch
individual
Next
show.
Generation with my aunt, but I never
Generation was
watched it in
fantastic.
order. I've heard everyone tells me Next Generation is the best, so anything else I watch will not be as good as Next Generation.
I grew up watching Deep Space Nine. So I mean, like, if you can get through Deep Space Nine, you can watch anything. Because that was some real trash.
Oh
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. It was so real quick, just completely off the Star Wars topic, but Next Generation was really, really good. The people that they brought on for Deep Space Nine essentially wrote that show out of spite, so they made it bad. They wanted to tank it, so like they just made it bad, but it's still for some reason did okay. So, but then Voyager's
Interesting.
fantastic too. If you like Voyager's really good. Captain Janeway is amazing.
Do I have to watch them in order, or can I just start with Next Generation again if I wanted to like watch a bunch?
You can watch Next Gen. I mean, like I grew up watching it out of order because I feel like every episode, like I mean, like they have like an overarching story, but I mean, like each episode kind of like is his own thing.
And obviously, I'm not going to watch like Picard and then go watch Next Generation because obviously,
Well, no, Picard
sequel.
happens after Next Generation. It happens
Duh.
after Voyager and like all of that stuff.
I would
After
assume so with Patrick Stewart's age.
Yeah, the Borg's defeated and like all those things.
Also, if you don't follow Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen on social media, you're doing social media wrong.
They're so
'cause the two of them
adorable.
are the bestest of friends, and it's amazing. And I love both of them. And I've told my wife keeps saying, she's like, when Ian McKellen dies, you're going to need to take like a day off work. I said, I am, because I love that man. He's freaking Gandalf. He's Magneto. He's just such a sweet, old, kind man. And Patrick Stewart's his best friend. So follow them because they're awesome. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of Star Wars and Scotch, episode 126. Tim, celebration this weekend. When are you covering it? When should people tune in? What's the dealio?
I'll let you know on Twitter.
So
It's Wednesday. I haven't thought about Friday yet. I'll think about Friday tomorrow.
One day at a time.
That's
fb.gg/darkness429. Follow Tim on Twitter and Facebook, Darkness429, and find out more about when you can check out Celebration things. I will be hanging out in Tim's chat during whatever he does for Celebration. So if you're like, well, Kevin's not there, I am there. I have things to do and cannot get online. And last year when we tried to do a simulcast,
It sucked.
we got Willow, which has not even made it a whole year and is canceled. So I will be in Tim's chat, fb.gg/darkness429. Stay tuned to his socials for more information on Celebration coverage. And then next week, we'll be talking about all things Celebration, the first half of the episode, and the Mando episode in the second half of the episode. So stop on by for all of the stuff. It'll probably be a long episode.
We just got to be careful with the Star Wars Celebration stuff because half of the good stuff got BCD'd last year. So we'll figure out what actually is going to be live streamed. Hopefully they have a schedule out because I went looking for a schedule and there still isn't one. So hopefully we'll have like a live streaming schedule in the next day or two. And then just check Twitter or Facebook. We'll have info for you there.
We definitely will not share anything between us. I think it's BCB. We will not do that.
No, I will watch it. I will watch the heck out of anything leaked. I promise you, but I won't share it with you.
I won't even watch it. I'm too pious to. I'll freaking watch it if you send it to me.
I love. Again, please. Hello, kid of the '90s. I grew up on pirated stuff. Like I could watch a handheld recorded video any day of the week.
My son was watching WrestleMania with me this weekend, and the pirating warning came on at the beginning. I was like, "What's all the words?"
You wouldn't steal the car.
Oh my God, you don't know. This is the fear they struck at us as children to think if we shared it with our friends, we were going to go to prison for 30 years.
You wouldn't microwave tinfoil. Then why would you pirate a TV show?
Because it's free. And my parents will let me watch it anyway. But yeah, stay tuned for Celebration coverage on Tim's channel. If you want to say hi to me, it's Kevin X Vision on Twitter, KMagic101 on Instagram. Make sure you rate, review, subscribe on Star Wars and Scotch. It really helps us out. And like we said, we've been hitting record numbers for the show the past few weeks. So thank you for that. We're Star Wars Scotch everywhere, pretty much on the internet. If you just start typing that, it'll pop up on the socials. But stay tuned next week. All Celebration coverage. And the second to last episode of season 3 of Mandalorian. But in the meantime,
may the Force be with you.